If you want to join an elite group of people who are living their passion, impacting millions, and connecting with the most inspiring people on the planet, this video is for you. Here's what it's all about. Imagine strolling into your own podcast studio and seeing a champion fighter, self-made billionaire, or Grammy winner you've admired since you were 15 waiting to talk to you. As you shake his hand, he says, "Ask me anything. I'm an open book." You spend the next 2 hours engrossed in a life-changing conversation. You hear stories and insights he's never shared before. It's so powerful, you can feel yourself absorbing his lessons on a deep level. After he leaves, all you can think is, "I can't believe that just happened." To decompress, you sit down to check your email. The first message is a 2-page story from a man you've never met. He tells you about how he felt lost and frustrated for years. Then he found your podcast, and it gave him direction and turned his life around. The next 15 are from fans who just wanted to say thank you and I love your show. By 3 p.m., you head home to spend time with friends and family. You no longer work 9 to 5 because your show has grown into a 7-figure business that allows you to control your hours and income. If you want this to be your everyday life, now is your chance. In a few minutes, you're going to discover how to create a successful, world-class podcast from scratch using our Broadcast Yourself course. This program is based off what I learned building a show from nothing to over 80 million audio downloads and over 200,000 YouTube subscribers. All while turning this hobby, which began in the bedroom of my flat, into a 7-figure lifestyle business. One that's allowed me to spend my days having inspiring conversations with amazing people, including Wyclef Jean, Tim Ferriss, Dorian Yates, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and more. The course shows you how to create a quality show you're proud of. It teaches you how to stand out, build a tribe of loyal listeners, and land high-level guests. You'll even discover how to turn your show into a lucrative business, so you can quit your job and build your own 7-figure media empire. And you don't need any fancy equipment or any special background to get started. For years, people like you from all over the world have used podcasting to transform their lives. Like Jabal, who felt like he was drifting along without purpose or direction. He always wanted to have a show, but never did anything about it. After watching London Real, he thought, I want to have a show like that, but do it my way and talk about the things I want to talk about. He didn't give in to excuses like, I don't know anything about broadcasting or I don't have the right equipment. Instead, he whipped out his smartphone and recorded his very first episode. That video only got a few views. Now, on episode 7, Jabal Cafe gets over 1,000 views. But more important than the audience, it's ignited a fire and drive deep inside of him. He's doing something he's excited about and has a clear sense of purpose. Then there's Mike and Andy Zaremba of Vancouver Real. These were regular guys with normal jobs who wanted something more. Years ago, they heard me on the Joe Rogan Experience challenge listeners to start their own show. They liked the idea of having a platform to talk about issues that were important to them. So they gave it a shot and started Vancouver Real. Today, they've released over 100 episodes and are building a mini media empire with live workshops and speaking events for the community. They're making a positive impact on thousands of lives and get to spend their time talking with amazing people, including Dave Asprey, Graham Hancock, Gabor Mate, and dozens more. And then there's Olive, founder of New York Real. By her own admission, Olive used to be self-indulgent and often felt sad, especially during the cold winters in New York City. Starting the show gave her something positive to focus on. It was an outlet to express herself, follow her passion, and create something she was proud of. It also gave her a platform to connect with incredible people, including best-selling author James Altucher, who was a guest on her show. When I asked what impact hosting a show had on her life, she told me that she used to feel sad and cry all the time. But after doing the show, she remarked, "I can't remember the last time I was depressed." Having a podcast gives you an outlet to find yourself, express yourself, and create something meaningful. It keeps you moving and doing what you love, which fights off negativity and loneliness. On top of that, it gives you a platform to connect with amazing people and form deep relationships with those who inspire you. A platform to impact millions with your ideas and build a tribe of intelligent people who support you and push you to grow. A platform to launch a 6 or 7-figure lifestyle business so you get paid to do what you love, be your own boss, and live on your own terms. As a result, hosting a podcast can transform your life more than 1,000 self-help books or workshops. When you have an awesome show, you no longer feel like you're sitting on the sidelines, watching other people live exciting lives, thinking there must be something wrong with you because you haven't figured it out yet. You're no longer forced to be a cog in someone else's machine, punching the clock each day at a job that doesn't inspire you, doing work you don't care about, only to lay in bed at night wondering, what's it all for? And you no longer have those days where you wake up feeling like crap, thinking to yourself, I haven't done anything with my life. Instead, you feel excited to create something you're passionate about, fulfilled by the impact you're making and proud of the legacy you're leaving behind. I know it's true because it's the transformation I went through. Before deciding to broadcast myself, my life was on autopilot. I'd come home from work to an empty house, plop on the couch, watch Mad Men, and go to sleep. Then do it all over again. On payday, I'd see the number in my bank account get bigger, but I'd look at it and think, so what? What's this all for? It felt as if I was waiting for something to happen, for some aha moment where I'd say, this is what I'm meant to do with my life. But it never came. Around that time, I stumbled across the Joe Rogan Experience. I thought, I want to do a show like this. So I began to interview people around town I thought were interesting. At first, friends thought I was crazy, but after 6 years, the show became a global phenomenon. Now, I get to make a real positive impact on millions of lives, which has led to a deep sense of purpose and meaning. I've gone from being a loner to being surrounded by amazing people. I feel more connected than ever. At the same time, I've turned this hobby into a 7-figure media company, one that lets me control my hours, live on my terms, and do work I truly believe in. Now, if you want a show as big or bigger than mine, there's never been a better time to start. For 2 reasons. First, there's never been more demand for quality content. According to Edison Research, the number of people who listen to podcasts has doubled in recent years. Today, an estimated 67 million people listen to podcasts every month, and that's only in America. That's 24% of the US population. So this number could double or triple over the next few years. And remember, you don't need to be as big as Joe Rogan to be successful. If only one person in 1 million like your show, you have 7,000 fans. That's more than enough to make an impact, change lives, and even build your own successful business. One that lets you quit your job and start making a great living doing what you're passionate about. The second reason is you can learn from the people who came before you and shave years off your learning curve. Back when I started, there was no step-by-step roadmap on how to build a successful podcast from scratch. Sure, there were blogs and courses out there, but the ones I looked at just overloaded me with information and left me to figure it out for myself. Not only that, they skipped over the 2 most critical steps in creating a high-quality show. The first is teaching you how to mix your passions with what listeners are dying to hear. When you do that, your show is something you're excited to do, and people are eager to hear it from day one. The second is how to create a world-class interview so you can have riveting conversations bursting with inspiring stories and life-changing ideas. If you feel you have nothing unique or insightful to share, like I did, this is a game changer. Asking the right questions and getting guests to open up makes for a compelling show. It keeps listeners coming back and takes hardly any effort on your part. Most of the material out there just focuses on what microphones or software to use. And while that's important, it's only a tiny piece of the puzzle. Nobody shows you how to turn your passion into a show that stands out, or land high-level guests when you're just starting, or run a world-class interview that's a cut above what's out there, where people open up and share their deepest fears, struggles, and dreams. For years, people have asked me for help on how to do all those things and more. So I decided to put my knowledge into a simple, step-by-step system you can use to have the success I've had in a fraction of the time. The result is our everything included course called Broadcast Yourself, which I'll introduce to you now. This is an 8-week online course where I guide you step by step to find your passion and turn it into a successful, world-class podcast. It has hours of videos showing you how to launch an awesome podcast from scratch and turn it into a 7-figure media empire. In this course, you'll learn how to find the perfect theme for you, land quality guests, build a loyal following, run a world-class interview, and much, much more. Plus, you'll have multiple calls per week with my staff and me to keep you on track and hold you accountable. Let's take a quick peek at what's in the program. Module 1 is where you find your podcast idea. This is all about finding that one perfect theme that blends your interests with what people are dying to hear. First, we'll help you tap into a deeper drive and motivation by helping you find your podcasting why. This is your core reason for starting that keeps you inspired, so your show is fun and not a chore. Next, I'll guide you through the 3 steps in my podcast idea generation process. Here you'll find out what you're passionate about and how to blend your interests to create a show that's new and compelling. Finally, we'll build your mini audience. We'll show you how to test your show on a small audience so you'll know what's working and what to throw out. This will help you get traction months or years faster than most podcasts. Once you have a clear direction, you can move on to Module 2, Test Your Podcast. At Google, they developed a process for getting real-world validation for their ideas in 1 week. We adapted it at London Real and even created a method for applying it to podcasting, so you can be certain your podcast will resonate before you lift a finger to build it. Most podcast hosts spend a year or more trying to find out what people want to hear. But with this process we created, you can validate your idea and do it in less than a week. We'll also show you how to survey the competitive landscape and make your show competition-proof. You'll see how to carve a niche for yourself that you can dominate so you stand out from the crowd starting on day 1. We'll also cover your 1,000 True Fans roadmap so you can align your interests with the gaping holes in the market and generate your 1,000 true fans as fast as possible through subcultures you already belong to. Next is Module 3, Build Your Platform. This is where you start creating the show itself. We'll show you the perfect microphone and software for you based on your goals and budget, along with the best places to go for web hosting and artwork, so you can avoid complex or expensive tools that you simply don't need. We'll even hook you up with tutorials on how to use your equipment, so you won't have to deal with the headache of figuring out all the tech stuff. Then we'll show you how to name your podcasts so it stands out, sticks in people's brains, and is a reflection of you. After that, you'll be ready for Module 4, Book Your Guests. This is where you stay booked with a stream of high-level guests you're eager to talk to. Here, you'll learn the 5 places to find great guests and how to mine sites like iTunes and Amazon to find high-level people who would love to be interviewed by you. Then, we'll give you word-for-word email templates for reaching out and getting them to be on your show. These are the same templates I used to land guests like 6-time Mr. Olympia Dorian Yates back when I only had a few listeners. We'll even show you how to nurture relationships so high-level influencers come to you. These are advanced strategies for making friends with gatekeepers like the publisher of Penguin Books. A single connection like that can open the doors to a flood of amazing guests. In Module 5, you'll create your podcast pilot. Now that you've laid the groundwork, it's time to crank out that very first show. Here, you'll get the interview prep template I use to get ready for my shows. So you'll know exactly what to ask and when. This will keep the conversation compelling while helping your guests feel comfortable opening up to you. You'll even see the exact prep forms I used for my interviews with Tim Ferriss, Dorian Yates, and Graham Hancock. You can follow them and set yourself up for a great show before you even see your guests. Then you'll see how to rock your interview with my 3-step process for creating an environment where guests trust you and feel safe, so they're willing to share their deepest fears, struggles, and dreams with you. Next, you'll learn the secrets of minimalist production, so you can create a high-quality show without wasting time or a small fortune on edits. In Module 6, you'll learn advanced London Reel broadcast secrets. This is my favorite. It's where you learn the trade secrets for outstanding content that'll set you apart and help you win a loyal following. You'll learn how to open, lead, and close a conversation, and how to use signature questions so your show stands out and sticks in people's minds. You'll discover how to create your own interview ritual so you get in the zone and nail your podcast from the moment you sit down. And we break down the 10 styles of great interviewers so you can blend the best of others with your personal flavor and create a fascinating show where your voice and personality shine through. In Module 7, you'll promote your podcast. This shows you the best ways to get your show in front of a massive audience as fast as possible. You'll get the London Reel pre-launch strategy guide. This shows you the only 3 things you need to focus on for building your tribe, so you can ignore the shiny tactics like SEO and Instagram that seems important but are actually huge time wasters. You'll learn how to leverage other people's audiences to grow your show and get a word-for-word email template for landing great guests on other popular podcasts. And you'll get the podcast marketing blueprint, so you can continually build awareness and anticipation for your shows in just 15 minutes a day. Finally, there's Module 8, Launch Your Podcast. You'll learn how to rapidly build an audience using the surround sound strategy and get traction immediately through pre-existing communities. To make it easy, you'll even get done-for-you emails you can use to spread the word and attract listeners. Then, you'll build a 12-month success roadmap so you know where you're going and the exact metrics you need to make your show a success. And you'll discover how to deal with critics, naysayers, and haters so you can brush them off and even win them over without missing a beat. Once you join, you'll get 1 module a week for 8 weeks. You'll have access to the material for life, so if you ever fall behind or want a refresher, you can go back to it anytime. And that's not all. We've created a 3-part accountability program to keep you moving forward no matter what. Here's what's included in that. First, we have 2 one-hour calls a week for 8 weeks. That's 16 hours of direct accountability. I'll get on the video call with you and the rest of the Broadcast Yourself community every Tuesday night and Sunday night throughout the course. There, I'll help you through that week's material and make sure you're not falling behind. All the calls are recorded, so if you can't make one, it's no problem. You can catch up the next day. You'll also have your own mini mastermind groups during that time. These are small groups led by one of my hand-selected podcast coaches. They're a great place to ask questions and get feedback. They'll also hold your feet to the fire and make sure you get stuff done. After the 8 weeks is through, you'll continue with monthly mastermind calls with your small group for the next year, so you can support each other through your entire journey. Second, you get access to our private Broadcast Yourself Facebook group. Here, you'll post your progress and connect with the rest of the class so you can stay inspired and continue to be held accountable. You'll also have the chance to pitch ideas, network, and reach out to me, my team, and the community for extra guidance and support. We'll be there for your entire journey, well after the 8 weeks is over. Third, you'll get a dedicated email address with 24-hour turnaround response time. Consider this your bat line. Anytime you feel yourself losing traction, hit us up. My team and I will make sure you get through any hurdles or obstacles that threaten your success in the program. Now, this course isn't for everyone. So before we go any further, let's make sure this is actually for you. This is not for anyone looking to get rich quick. Podcasting is a marathon, not a sprint. If all you want is money, you've missed the deeper reasons for doing this. It's also not for you if you expect to get results without actually doing the work. This program will push you. If you're not willing to take action steps we lay out, don't bother joining us. Now, this course is for you if you want to have a podcast but don't know where to start. It'll ensure you move in the right direction starting from day one. It's also for you if you're looking to find your purpose, express yourself, and make a positive impact on people's lives. Finally, it's for you if you have a business and want to give value back to your industry, while at the same time attract fresh leads who turn to you when it's time to buy. Now, you do have other options for creating a successful, world-class podcast from scratch. For example, you could hire a producer to do the tech and admin work. A good one will charge $500 for a 30-minute consultation, which means you could easily spend $10,000 in your first few months. Aside from that, you could do it yourself, like I did, and wait years before anybody listens, and 4 or 5 more years before you make a dime. Or you can take the express route. You can create a high-quality podcast from scratch, following the path that's already laid out for you, as my staff and I walk you through every step of the process. Plus, get support from a community of driven podcasters that have your back every step of the way. If you're ready to get started, you can have the entire course today for $2,997. Now, enrollment will be closing soon. Once it does, I won't reopen the program until next year, because my goal is to make sure everyone who joins is a Broadcast Yourself success story. So I'll be heavily focused on my students and working closely with them. So if you ever thought about having your own podcast, now is the time. Before you decide though, I have 2 more gifts for you. These are valued at over $1,300, but you can have them free if you join today and choose the Invest in Full option. The first is a training on how to turn your podcast into a hit YouTube show. This takes you behind the scenes on how to create stellar YouTube interviews. It has the most important lessons we learned over the 6 years boiled down into one powerful training. You'll learn the 5 ways to maximize your YouTube presence in minimum time, so you can get your videos in front of as many people as possible. You'll learn how to make a podcast go viral, with breakdowns on how we got over 1 million views on a single video. Plus, get the tools we use to hack YouTube SEO so you can reach out to the right audience. Second, you'll get an in-depth training on how to transform your podcast into a profitable business. We'll break down the 6 revenue streams available to you and how to pursue them, and give you the complete business success blueprint, which breaks down our exact path from no revenue to a 7-figure business, so you can follow it and do the same. This training helps turn listeners into leads and transforms your hobby into a profitable side business. If you're still on the fence about joining, let me ask you something. When you look back on the past few years, how do you feel? Are you proud of what you accomplished and the person you've become? Or do you feel like you've been playing smaller than you are? Like you're sitting on a spring of untapped potential? What if nothing changes? What if the way you spend today is more or less the same day you have for the next 6 years, or 10 years, or 20 years? Would you look back with pride, knowing you left it all on the field and lived a full life? Or would you feel like you're missing out on something? That you somehow became, in the words of Theodore Roosevelt, one of those cold, timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat? Because you chose to stay on the sidelines where it was safe, instead of climbing into the arena with the rest of the gladiators willing to put themselves out there. If you're ready to find your passion, connect with high-level influencers, and impact thousands around the world, then join me inside. Click the button below right now and let's get started. I'll be right there in your corner every step of the way. I'll see you on the inside.